Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the very next episode of The Remedy with Tova Sido and
Janice Gaunt and
Tom Bridwell.
Well, welcome back, everyone.
Yeah.
To the very
good to see
next
you again.
episode. Well, we're going to pick up where we left off. We'll get right into it. Last week, we talked about what is self-care. And what is not self-care. We learned that indulging in anything and everything you want is not self-care.
Right. Sorry.
But actually taking care of yourself is self-care.
That's right. That's right.
This whole series was sponsored by somebody anonymous. So thank you to our anonymous sponsor.
Yes, thank you so much.
Of this one, of this 3-week series. I think this is, like we talked about last week, just in time for the holidays. Which a lot of people need to be reminded that taking care of yourself is really important. I think people find it much more difficult to eat well, exercise, not drink as much. Yes, keep financially in check. Keep your alcohol in check.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I mean, the average person gains, I think it's 7 pounds between now and the end of the year.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, your pants won't zip.
Pants will not zip. So this series is certainly meant to inspire you to take care of yourself, especially during this season. So we're going to pick up right where we left off. This week, we are focusing on what are the different types of self-care and also what are the barriers, what gets in the way. So we're going to start with the different types. So Janice, you want to start at the top there?
Okay. There are various forms of self-care that involve different activities or actions. Each form is as important as the other and drives optimal health and well-being. The first one, physical health. Taking care of your physical health is a form of self-care. This could include getting the proper amount of exercise, eating a diet that is full of nutrients and whole foods, or engaging in relaxing activities that can help to manage stress levels. Physical self-care also involves getting enough sleep.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, Janice.
Yes.
How 10 is like the best that you could do in this department. Where do you think you land?
I think that I'm pretty close to a 10.
That's how I observe you.
Yeah, I don't, every now and then I will allow myself to eat a piece of chocolate cake, but I don't do that very often, so I really do this. I really am kind of on top of this.
That's how I definitely observe you.
Yeah.
What about you, Tom?
I'm probably the opposite of that.
Really?
I pretty much daily eat things I shouldn't eat. And I don't drink anymore very much. So I've definitely curbed that. But food is just something I'm not willing to sacrifice any of choices. I mean, I'm saying that, but I'm better than I was, but I still eat things I shouldn't eat. Like today, I had potato soup for lunch that was from Eatsy's, and it's got cream and butter and cheese and bacon.
Yeah,
sounds really good.
And in my mind, I'm like, this is better than fried chicken, but I mean, it was convenient, and I wanted it, so I did it.
Yeah.
But you know what? I think I think it's probably really good for the average listener to hear, because I don't think that most people live at a 10. I think that So I appreciate that you feel like that's something that you is an opportunity for improvement with you, because I think most people fall somewhere a little bit less than a 10.
Well, and I think too that a lot of men are not quite as aware of their food as women, because we have been taught that
you've eaten enough.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
enough.
Yeah, that's enough.
I would
Just
get
stop.
slapped if I said that.
Yes, you
You've
would.
eaten enough.
Yes, you would.
Oh
Now,
yeah,
I
Tom
did-
has never said that
I
to
did
me.
exercise. I had my tennis lesson this morning
Oh,
for
good.
about 40 minutes, and I'm going to be playing golf on Friday. I mean, I have another tennis lesson on Thursday. I mean, like I'm not just a bump on a log. So I can only imagine what I would look like if I didn't exercise.
Well, you're busy.
Yes,
I mean,
I'm
you're
always moving around.
But yeah,
and-
that's what
and-
I was going to say. You don't really just sit around.
No, and October was my busiest month for running sound. I ran 6 different shows, so that's 6
Dang.
times of loading the gear into the trailer, unloading it, reloading it, and unloading it.
Yeah.
So that's
That's a lot.
24 times of loading it, which is basically like going to do weightlifting for 24 times.
Oh my gosh,
I mean, it's
were you
those
sore?
speakers behind you guys?
Yeah.
Those big speakers,
Yeah.
and the amplifiers underneath them.
Yes.
I put the cases on there. I load that into my trailer. I load them onto stages. I did it 24 times.
Oh,
good
my gosh.
Yeah, in October.
How long does it take you
It
to
takes
do?
90 minutes to load in and 90 minutes to load out.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well,
I would
that's
not like that.
That is a lot of
It is. It's a lot.
exercise.
That's
That
why
is.
when I said I'm done for the year, I was like, I need it. I need
Yeah.
a break.
Yeah. That
I think physical health, before I went to college, I never exercised a day in my life. I mean, I didn't think about exercise ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did not ever think about exercise, and I started to exercise in college when my roommates and my friends, I just wanted to be with them.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I didn't even understand what could happen to my body.
Did your mother exercise?
Oh, she was an exercise freak.
Because she had kind of an eating disorder,
Yes.
right?
My
Yeah.
mom was bulimic for my entire life. And I just, and she was always like eating cereal while we were eating dinner. But for some reason, my mom's, as jacked up as her eating situation was, it really did not affect me. I was just like, well, that's her. That's not me.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
And thank God she never said anything unkind about me or
Yeah.
my body, but I never struggled with my weight
Yeah.
growing up.
Yeah.
And so I just never thought about it. But when I started to exercise, I could not believe how awesome it felt.
I know.
And so it's like I didn't do it because I needed to lose weight. I did it because that's what everybody else was doing. But then I just couldn't. And then when I started to do yoga, I could not believe how much my body changed. Like, you really can change your body.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the benefits are outrageous. I think I've said it on this podcast, but when I was hit by that truck, and like when I got all my tests back and the doctor came in to talk to Craig and I, he asked me, "What do you do?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" And he was like, what do you do to take care of yourself? And I said, well, I do yoga. I walk, I try to eat well. And he said, your yoga saved your life. Wow. And I was like, seriously? And he was like, the only time we see these types of injuries on people is when they're dead. And he was like, the fact that you have injured yourself to the capacity that you have and you're not dead is nothing short of a miracle. And he was like, it's your strength. Because if you think about it, a GMC truck hit me going 50 miles per hour.
I know it. It's unbelievable.
And I'm not that big.
Yeah.
And
No.
yet I withstood it. And so it had to have been my strength.
Well, and I think that that's really important. And if you're not doing yoga, I don't do yoga, but I do weights.
You do something
3 or 4 times a week. And so to keep my muscles strong because it does help. And I think that's really, really important.
Yeah. It's obviously really, really, really important. So I could not say enough about how important this is. Okay, mental health. Mental self-care is designed to drive a healthy mind by practicing brain-stimulating activities and healthy mental behaviors. When it comes to mental health, self-care is crucial for recovery from mental health disorders, being able to self-manage mental health disorders while undergoing treatments, and encouraging those with mental health disorders to seek help when they need it. While no two people are the same, there are some strategies that people with mental disorders can use to practice self-care. They include participating in creative activities they enjoy, exercising, practicing spirituality, getting a job or furthering education, and seeking help from a professional. I know you and I are both really big on taking care of your brain, taking care of your mind.
Yeah. One of the things that I've done for several years is do Spanish. I have a Spanish thing, and I try to do that every day for 30 minutes to an hour. And that has helped me. That I can tell that it's like I can feel my brain working, and so that's good. And I think reading is a really good thing to do. And I also think that if people have like any sort of a like depressive disorder or any sort of self-loathing disorder, and that they do some work around that to fix that, because we can greatly influence our brains. And one of the things is releasing neurotransmitters, and that's doing things that's fun, dancing, walking, riding your bike, doing yoga if you love it, and
tennis, golfing,
all of it, all of it, singing, dancing around the house. So it really does keep those neurotransmitters flooding the brain, and that's one of the things that keeps the brain so flexible. So,
well, just like we talked about last week, you don't have to dread this. Find what you enjoy.
Yeah.
Crossword puzzles, Wordle, I hate crossword puzzles, but other people really enjoy them. And so just finding stimulating activities that you enjoy. I promise you there's something.
Oh, yeah, for
Speaking
sure.
of games.
What'd you say?
Speaking of games.
Yeah.
Yes.
Have you guys played Connections?
No.
I've got to show you this game. You are going to love it. It's amazing.
Is it like a board game?
Well, no, it's like a phone game, kind of like Wordle. It's from the New York Times, just like Wordle. I'm sure you've heard of that.
Yeah, I love Wordle.
Yeah.
It's a really quick, just one word you're trying to guess. It takes like 5 minutes most of the time, sometimes less. But this Connections game is similar. There's 16 words, and you try to group 4 of the words into 4 categories, and it is the coolest game. I'll show it to you after the podcast.
I'm so glad you told
You're
us
gonna
about
love it.
this.
It's one of those games that takes like 2 minutes sometimes or 10 minutes, but it's so fun every day.
Oh my gosh.
It's less than a year old. It started the week we went on our boat trip, and our family started playing it.
I remember you saying that.
From week 1, we've still been doing it.
So is it an app?
No, it's a page on the New York Times.
So you can just Google
digital, Yeah, so you can just put it as like a bookmark in your web browser and just check it every day, and it updates every day.
And so is it a game that you play with other people?
No.
Okay.
There's 16, there's like a square on the screen, and there's 16 words, one of the words in each of the 16 boxes, and you're trying to, 4 of these words go together. So there's 4 categories, and you're trying to pick 4 words that go together. And then once you get that category, now there's 12 words left, and 4 more will go together, and 4 more until you get all 4 categories with the 4 words. But there's trick words because the English language, as you know, one word can have 4 meanings.
Yeah.
And so there's like, they're trying to trick you into picking, like there might be 5 words fit together. So you got to figure out which one of them they're trying to trick you into thinking is part of the 4-word category. If
So
you
that's the
saw what I'm
connection.
talking about, I know it sounds kind of confusing, but when you see it, it'll just make sense immediately, and it is really fun.
That
Okay.
sounds awesome. Yeah,
It is.
let's show
Connections,
us
everyone.
when we finish.
Okay.
Yeah.
New York
Connections.
Times.
Thank
Yeah,
you. Thank
good.
In
you.
your brain.
Yeah. Good.
Okay, you want to read about relationships?
Let's see. Did we talk about practicing spirituality?
No, we just did physical health, mental health, and then relationships is next. I'll read it.
Okay.
It
go
says
ahead.
having healthy relationships is a form of self-care all its own. Research has shown that different forms of relationships, whether they be romantic, platonic, or familial, can all benefit overall health and well-being. When looking at married couples specifically, studies have found that they are more likely to be in good physical and mental health than unmarried counterparts. Married couples are also less likely to become ill or die of certain health conditions such as cancer, heart attacks, or surgery. That is so interesting.
Isn't it?
Good social relationships are also tied to better overall health. And studies have found that having a good network of friends can improve a person's physical and mental health significantly. When people lack platonic relationships, they are more likely to be subject to psychological distress and engage in unhealthy behaviors. Finally, having strong familial relationships is also a form of self-care because of the way it can drive good health. For example, having a good family support system when dealing with a chronic illness has been associated with better disease outcomes. This makes total sense to me.
Yeah. And, one of the things that really affect people physically and emotionally and mentally is the absence of connection. Mm-hmm. And loneliness is a kicker because you just, once people get in that spiral and start to go down that, it's hard for them to pull themselves out of that. Yeah. And so one of the things that I suggest to clients if they are having some depression and isolation that comes along with that is to figure out one place to volunteer one day a week.
That's so good.
And read to children or go to West Dallas. They're always looking for volunteers in different organizations, and it really does make a difference. So if you're not in, and then people who are not in a significant other relationship, then they can feel really lonely. But that's not the be-all, end-all, because if you're not in a good relationship, that doesn't work. Mm-hmm. So seek stimulation from other people if you need that, because it will make such a difference.
Oh, I think this is, if I did not have the connections and the relationships with Craig, we have such a healthy, beautiful relationship with my family. I have a beautiful relationship with my family and with Craig's family, with my children. And then I have the best group of friends. I mean, it makes all the difference in the world. I think that if I didn't have those connections, I would drown.
Yeah.
The mental state that I would be in would be horrible.
And so if you don't already have that, try to seek it out. If you go to church, do a Bible study and meet with people, or teach Sunday school, teach little kids, and then have meet their parents, or just anything that you can do to help you
Put yourself
socialize
out there a little bit.
Yeah, you just have to socialize. If you don't, it does a number.
Yeah.
So seek it out.
It would do an awful number on you.
I know.
I mean, one of the things that I always say when I marry someone is, I mean, it's biblical. You know, God said it is not good for man to be alone. It's not.
Right.
It's not good for any of us. And that's why he created all of us, so we could engage and have connection. It's vital.
It is. It really is.
Okay, so let's talk about what are some of the barriers to self-care. What types of things get in the way of us taking good care of ourselves? The article says, while self-care may seem straightforward and easy, there are many barriers that could limit or prevent someone from practicing it on a regular basis. Some such barriers to self-care can include. You want to read that first one?
Go ahead, because I can't find the thing.
Oh, okay. It's the part where it says, what are the barriers to self-care?
Okay, yes.
So it's the first one, and I can totally see why this would take a toll, is low self-worth.
Yes, yes.
According to research, people overly critical of themselves or those with a low sense of self-worth often avoid self-care or do not see it as a priority.
Yes, yes. If
That
you
just
don't
makes
think
me sad.
if you don't think highly of yourself, you're not going to put much effort in trying to make that better.
Isn't that sad?
Yeah, it's really sad.
That there are people who think so poorly of themselves that they don't really believe that they're worth investing in.
Yeah. It'd
So
be terrible.
if somebody came to you and felt like that, how would you help them get out of it?
Well, first of all, I would tell them that they are valuable just because they breathe the air. That's the thing that makes us valuable. And then I would really talk to them about what brings them joy. If whatever it is, to take that, recognize it, and build upon it, even if you start very, very slowly. Because low self-worth is going to be accompanied with depression. And so, a lot of times people need to get on some medicine for depression because they just don't value themselves. And it will help. It really will.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Medicine helps.
It does.
If you need medicine, take it.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
It really, really helps. And medicine can help you get out of
yes.
that rut of thinking that you're not worth it.
One of the things that I did, my children still laugh about it, is
The walk.
the me walk that I would take, and I would start with the letter A, and I would walk and come up with an adjective that started with every letter of the alphabet that was about me. So A, I like my attitude. B, I like my blue eyes or whatever. And it really helped me because it helped me form a real positive relationship with myself. Because after my divorce, I felt a lot of inadequacy because the marriage didn't work, So anyway, that helped.
I love that. I love the me walk.
The me walk, yeah.
People have shared with me how much that's meant to them.
Good. Good.
Okay, why don't you take the next one? Feeling guilty.
Feeling guilty. Putting others first is common for many people, especially those with children or those who are used to taking care of people because of their life or work situation. When they are tasked with taking care of themselves, there is an air of guilt because they feel as though they are being selfish.
I have experienced this. I have seen so many other people experience this, especially moms. It's like if moms aren't at the event or moms are out with the girls or they take a girls' trip or there's just a lot of guilt in self-care for moms. They just feel guilty.
Yeah.
Missing something or being away or not being what they deem as perfect. And
there's, when several years ago, I talk about this in Prince Charming, which, by the way, is available on audio.
I love that.
So you can go to Amazon or what's the other one?
I don't know. I only get my stuff on
Audible. Audible and Amazon. And there was a Dallas Cowboy football player that used to say, "I love me some me." And
Terrell Owens.
Yeah, Terrell Owens, yes. And so I remember when he said that, I thought that was so selfish. And then I started saying that about myself. I love me some me, and here's why. And I would come up with something. And that's really, that would be a great mantra for anybody that has low self-worth, is to start loving them some me. I love me some me, because he used to say it. Do you remember hearing him say that, Tom?
Oh yeah, you can find that on the internet. It's very emphatic. I loves me some me.
It's a good imitation.
That's really good. That's hilarious.
Well, I think feeling guilty is very common and yet very unnecessary.
Yeah.
And I think it's very powerful for my children to watch me take care of myself.
Absolutely. That's where they learn it. And the thing about guilt is, if you're acting outside of your value system, then guilt is a very valuable thing for us, because it'll check us. But you got to stop and look at it. So am I feeling guilty because I ate the last piece of pizza, and then my child came in and said, "Is there any pizza left?" So it's not about dying. It's about having, if you are, if you steal something and that's not in your value system, then you should feel guilty, because it's like a warning sign. Stop. But taking care of yourself, it should not be accompanied with guilt.
No, I totally agree.
Yep.
Okay, you want to read that next one?
Yeah.
Time constraints?
Time constraints. Life gets busy, and practicing self-care is often put on the bottom of the priority list when things that are seemingly more important are still left unfinished.
I think a lot of people struggle with this.
I know. But it really is important that you make time for yourself.
I also think it's an excuse. I mean, because people do make time for things that are important to them. I understand when couples have 3 young children and they're up at 6:30 and they're doing dishes at 8:30 because they just got everybody to bed and they're exhausted and they've worked all day, and there's a reality to it. But, I remember when my kids were young and Topher and I were married, I mean, we just took turns a lot. We couldn't do as much together, but exercising was still important to me, and exercising was still important to him. So we had to divide and conquer a lot, which then you have to make time for date night because you got to connect with each other and all. But it is a balance, and it is a juggle, and I get all of that, but it's so important that you do it.
Yeah, you have to take care of yourself.
You have to.
You do.
Okay, making change isn't easy is the next one. To adopt self-care practices, you will have to make some changes to your life. This is not an easy thing to do.
No, it's not. Start simple. Keep it simple. And start one thing at a time. And then you can add another. Maybe you do one thing every week, and then you add on to that. And then, in no time, you are doing 4 to 12 things a week to help yourself.
I think that's such good advice, because people don't start because it feels too overwhelming.
Yeah. Oh, it's just too much.
Yeah.
We'll do one
can't
thing.
do that right now.
One thing.
One small, itsy bitsy thing. to make a difference.
Yeah.
And then see the benefit of that. And then you'll want to do the next simple little thing.
Yeah, and then it gets easier because it becomes a habit, like brushing your teeth.
Yeah, that's an option for some people.
Yeah, it is definitely an option for some people.
That's so sad. Okay, a lack of understanding. Why don't you read that one?
Many people see self-care as frivolous spending, or the like. However, that is not the case. If people don't understand the best and most beneficial forms of self-care, they are less likely to practice them regularly. So
people who don't give this a lot of credit don't understand the benefits, essentially.
yes.
If you're
Once
not
you get
doing
the
it and you think it's stupid or you think it's frivolous, then so that's the reason you do it. It's just because you don't understand how important it actually is.
And it just fake it till you make it, because eventually you'll be like, wow, that's really made a difference.
Yes.
You know?
I never understood how important that would be for me.
I know.
Or how beneficial it would be for me.
Exactly.
And then when you start to see and understand the benefits, then it does give the credibility to it.
Yeah.
Okay, workplace culture surrounding self-care. In some workplaces, there is a stigma surrounding self-care, as if practicing it is somehow selfish. While that is not the case, it often leads people to see self-care as a stressor because of the way it is viewed by their colleagues. Get out of that place.
Well,
Wow.
and you know, if it's hard for you to see the benefits of self-care, then try something different. You know, not the same thing is not good for everybody, or is not going to be enjoyable for everybody. So keep looking, because people 90% of the population probably does not have a plan for self-care. And so you might be surrounded by people in workplaces who just think it's okay to work 12 hours a day or expect it, you know.
Or think that you going to work out at lunch is you should be here working.
Yeah.
Give you a hard time about that.
Yeah.
Or running out to get something healthy instead of eating the shit food in the cafeteria.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
It does. If we're just being very honest and transparent, it does take planning, effort, money. I mean, time. You know, it just takes things that oftentimes we think we don't have.
Yeah, and then once you get used to it, it becomes a habit, and it's easy. It's part of you.
Yeah, it is. It becomes your lifestyle, like we talked about.
Yeah.
A lack of planning. You want to grab that one?
Most people practice self-care only when it is necessary, which leads to less effective self-care activities.
Only when it's necessary, which leads to less effective.
Like maybe if somebody has to do stretching because they've had an injury or something like that. So do it anyway. You know, even if you don't need it, you don't see a specific need, go ahead and do it. Implement some of these things, and soon you'll find that now it's just kind of you. It's kind of part of who you are.
Before the doctor tells you have to because you just had a heart attack, or you have diabetes now because you haven't been taking care of yourself for way too long.
Yeah.
I don't want any of that news.
No, me neither. Me neither.
So I do think that barriers are real. I'm not discounting the fact that this does take time, effort, planning, all the things. But I to your point, I think that people who use those things as excuses, maybe the best one in here was they don't understand the benefits. And so if you could just trust Janice and I that at some point you will begin to see even if it's just you have a little bit more energy, or you're sleeping a little bit better, or you lose a couple of pounds,
or you're feeling happier and you're having more fun,
or you want more sex.
Yeah.
I mean, this affects everything.
Yeah.
It really affects everything. So I'm a huge fan of it. I think this is an incredible series, and I just hope that you take some of these and just do one little thing.
Yeah.
Just one little thing.
Keep it simple.
Keep it simple.
Kiss it.
Yeah. Keep it simple, silly, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I was like, I remember that from
Yeah.
back in the day.
Uh-huh.
Well, we hope that you found this to be incredibly beneficial. It was good little reminders for me as well.
Me too.
Yeah. And that you have an amazing week.
Yeah. Thanks for listening.
Yeah. Thanks for listening.